Oh my God.
Are you ready for question and answer time?
It's time for Q&A with TNA. By the way, that stands for Todd and Aaron.
All right. Welcome into Q&A with TNA. As I mentioned, that stands for Todd and Aaron. This fine gentleman over here is Todd Downing. My name is Aaron Montgomery. We are with our success group. Todd, how's your Wednesday treating you, sir?
Wetness day. It is wetness out there. It is wetness
day,
out there.
Right? Wetness day. Yeah, it's a little raining. In fact, it's just started raining here as well. So
Yeah, it was pretty cool to. I just realizing, that we've been doing this for like 2 years now.
Wow,
2
that's
years.
true.
Yeah, when I look back at that, I'm like, yeah, that was like COVID time. I'm like, we've been doing this 2 years now.
Wow, that is impressive. I didn't do the math either. That's pretty awesome. So and now that we're not doing it every week, right?
We were doing it every day.
Like we were doing it. What we were doing like 3-4 times a week at one point.
There was something on every day. We were doing it. We were on every day because we did it Monday. Then I had Tuesday with Todd. Then we had Wednesday, Thursday. We did it, and then Friday was 2 regular guys. For a little bit, we did it on Saturday and Sunday too. For just a check in to see what that.
Yeah,
we did it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. We were 7 days a week. So yeah, you had Tuesdays with Todd. Then we had 2 regular guys on Friday, and then small business Saturday on Saturday. Yep. And then that's right. We did it. I forgot we did it on Sunday too. Wow.
Yeah, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't anything else going on.
That's right. That's right. We're all stuck in our houses anyways. So awesome. Well, welcome in, and thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We are coming off of the OSG training that we recently had. We talked about automation a couple Wednesdays ago, and then had a great implementation call last Wednesday. So that was fantastic. And so we've got some questions that have rolled in here, but let's say hi to some folks first.
Cool. And then something to think about on the automation stuff. So I went ahead and did the free Zapier, and just so people know, the free is not necessarily free, because you're going to run into a point where your tasks that it does, you're only limited to so many of them. So once you hit that, then they want you to pay. So there's only so many a month that you can do. And I banged those out in about 10 days. So and then from there, I think for the year, for a single person, that you would get $240, I think, for the year. So not bad, because you figure the amount of time that it saves, legit.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Totally legit. I agree. And even on the smaller plan, you can run into those task limitations. So you have to get to that point where the stuff that you're running are either really valuable for you, or like you said, the time that you're saving on that, time is money. So certainly worth it. So all right. Well, let's see here. We've got Wendy checking in. Good afternoon, Wendy. And I talked to Wendy a little bit earlier for the OBG, our book group review. We had that this afternoon. We'll have our next call on Sunday potentially, so we'll see how that goes. And then Chuck, good evening.
Tanya. What's up, Chuck?
And Tanya, hello, Tanya.
Tanya's here. She's throwing terms around like that, like crazy.
And then King Primo Creations, thanks for being here.
Nice.
And we got Jerry, hello. And then Jerry says, my wife says I spend too much time with you guys. I don't know if that's possible, Todd.
What, that his wife said it, or that he spends too much time with us?
Like, is there such a thing? I don't think you can spend too much time with us.
Oh, I'm sure. Ask my wife.
Is that why she continues to go on vacations all the time?
Yeah, she's just like she handles me in doses. If you're hearing something over there, she's pressing her little heart away, and you know why? She works hard so she can go ahead and play hard. Because
there you go.
We have we're about 6 weeks away from her headed out on her next adventure. So yeah, that's what she does.
Yeah. So some small doses of Todd, I see. Okay. All right. Well,
that's right.
I don't think that anybody can have too much of me, but that's okay. That's not true. Totally not true. I'm obviously joking in jest. So, and then, I started a new program called a Fundamental Start, and just 7 a.m. opportunity to jump in, really to help me kind of get my butt moving and going. So that's been helpful, but just a way to positively start the day. I know Todd's got morning mindset too, so you got all sorts of positive ways to start your your business.
We get rocking and rolling. I mean, that's the thing is it's when you set up your day for success in the morning, it's so much better than you just be like, hey, what's going on? Like I have friends, that are on the left coast, and when there's times where they said, they slept in, they feel like they're missing half the world because, if they sleep in until 9, right? I mean, that's now 10, 11. It's 11 here. That's noon, so that's noon already over there. The day's half over. So, hey, you got to get up and after it. And it's always weird to try and figure out, what's the best time for people. If we go listen, center of the universe time is where it's at. Let's just agree on that because, you got 7 o'clock, you got 8 o'clock there. You got 9 o'clock. I don't imagine a world where my news is an 11 o'clock news. It's a 10 o'clock news. I couldn't imagine where I had to stay up till 11 o'clock to watch the news. It's 10 o'clock here. It's always been that way. So I can't move too far out of my time zone. I would think I'd be very confused with that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, try being somebody that spent most of their life in Arizona who does not do daylight savings and then coming into daylight savings. That was really strange. So.
Yeah, I think I could figure that out because, usually good after like a week. But that whole like me, I've always thought if I was going to retire everywhere, that the perfect thing to do is to go to Hawaii because not for the beautiful weather and that, but football starts at like 7 a.m. So I can be at the bar at 7 on a Sunday and it's perfectly fine. And then you could be there all day, watch every game, and you would be home before dinner, because you've got like 8-9 hours of football. You'd be fine. So, I mean, I think I put thought on this 20 years ago, and I still think it's a great idea.
Yeah. But I don't know if that's the case anymore, but I did have a friend that used to complain about the fact that he was in Hawaii and the football started, like you said, at 7 a.m, and they didn't start serving drinks on Sunday until afternoon time. So he was not able to have any beers.
So what I have researched was that bars are not open then, but restaurants are. It's how the thing you got away the blue laws that are here is that bars can't be open on a Sunday, but if you serve so much food, you can be. So that's how
can they still serve alcohol? But who knows?
So you go to like a Buffalo Wild Wings and
Yep. All right. Well, when you start dealing with Arizona time, though, it gets a little confusing because sometimes you're the same time as California. Sometimes you're the same time as Mountain Time, right? New Mexico, Colorado, et cetera. So.
And I think the other thing is too is when stuff was on TV, you're used to it being this time. Like for me, for me locally here, Wheel of Fortune is 6:30, right? It's after the news. It's after the 6 o'clock news. To have that move to a different time and day or channel, I don't know. But now with everything streaming, I couldn't tell you what time a lot of stuff was on. But I know the news is still 10 o'clock. I don't know what time other stuff is on, but if I want to watch the news, I got my chances. I got 5, 6, and 10. There's other stuff I don't know.
Yeah, these are all first world problems. So
I know, right?
All right. Well, we've got Pamela. Thank you for verifying or letting us know. I figured that was the case. So we appreciate you being here, Pamela. And Darren, hello.
Darren.
All right, Todd. Let you finish taking a sip of water here. Left coast to left coast. There you go.
Do it. I'll just do it. That's
so
what
I'll let you give the spiel then.
Yeah, so Facebook user, or FU as we like to say here, here's how you fix this. Go to oursuccessgroup.com/Facebook, or you can head to FatDadLive and LiveOSG.com. You can go there. We can see you directly here on YouTube, but StreamYard doesn't always play nice with Facebook. So if you want to use Facebook, go to oursuccessgroup.com/Facebook. and then give them permission. You're going to have to change it in like 6 days because it seems like once a month. If you're one of the people that have issues, you have to do it every month. So good luck. See you.
Yeah, it is a moving target, it seems, but yeah, check that out. And then Arizona time is the best. And let's see here, Jose, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Jose.
And Hawaii sounds better now, thanks Todd Downing.
You're welcome. I think that's David. I bet that's David. If that's, I'm thinking putting Arizona together, left coast. I'm betting.
It's got to be David or maybe Kim Johnson.
Oh, it could be. It could be.
Yeah. So we'll
Corey
find
said
out.
she'll just look. Corey's going to look and see what she
Okay.
can.
Thanks, Corey. Corey producing in the background. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Corey. Alan says, I think Todd put way too much thought into this.
No, I don't think you can put too much time into anything. When you start thinking, just how things are going to play out, how can I decide, Hawaii is going to be way too expensive to live in. So what do I need to do? I need to become wealthy enough to have, an apartment complex there so I can live in it. I can have the business in it, and then I can have everybody else pay for me to live there. Then we're good. Now, when it comes to food, all right, I'm either foraging myself because I'm a fat guy, because Corey is not a seafood girl. So she's going to starve because I don't think she can handle island food. So I got to figure that out too, which means I got to own a restaurant so I can have my own food. And now I just worked right into having, the bar open on Sundays to watch football. So
there you go.
I can be there.
All right.
It was David. Way to go, David. See, you can't hide from us. We'll find you.
All right, Jennifer. Hola. Thanks.
Hello, Jenny.
Well, Todd, do you think it's Q&A time?
I think so. I think we got some real bangers in there, as the kids say.
All right. Well, let's hit the first one here. And why don't people want to outsource? Todd, go.
They're lazy. I think they don't know what it means. I don't think a lot of they fully understand what it is. Because outsourcing isn't just, hey, I'm sending this job over here to this. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do. And Jen's here, so Jen's the resident promo queen. Even though we have King Primo, we have a promo queen down here. So hey, this is gonna get interesting. Maybe they'll fight battle to the death on it. I don't want to die, so don't do that. But there's so many opportunities that are available. I think they just don't know about it. I think a lot of that stems from what you know. Here, I know how to do shirts, but I don't know how to do this. I don't know where to look. I'm not sure where to get the information from. I'm just going to keep doing shirts. It's just easier for me to do that. So I think that's one of the things. Why it's not that they don't want to; they just don't know how to. The other thing is, I think a lot of us that are in the decorating side of it are guilty of it. Is we want to have our hands on everything. We want to be able to say we made that and created that, which is great, but it is not cost effective because it limits what you can do. Because if you want to do everything, what's your option then? You have to buy every piece of equipment. So how long is it going to take to get every piece of equipment out? How much work can you do to pay off every piece of equipment? I'm telling you, as an equipment collector, there's still a lot of stuff I outsource, and I will continue to do that because it makes way more sense than to continue buying equipment, even though maybe I'll buy some more equipment, whatever. I don't know. Yeah. But I think those are my things right there. Okay.
All right. And I agree with those things. I think one of the other challenges that people face when it comes to that, you kind of hit on it a little bit, but that concept of, they want to have control. They want to be able to put their hands on everything. Let's be honest. A lot of people's business and what they center what they do around the fact that they provide a really high quality product and, that service, that level of whatnot. And so it does become, a trust factor, right? So if outsourcing something that you've been afraid of, I think the best thing to do is start getting out there and trying some people out and see. You've got to build a relationship. Outsourcing is way different than just, it's not just press a button and submit. Hopefully you can get to that point, but I think you've got to build some trust up before you can get there, for a lot of people. And so I think a big part of outsourcing is let's make sure that we have some sources, we try some people out. When your busy times are going to be. So having that potential partner, something goes down, you need somebody as a backup, right? Building up those relationships can be really important, I think. And then I think one of the other things that I've heard from people is that they've quote unquote outsourced in the past and had a bad experience. I know lots of people that have had bad experiences. And what really happened though is that they didn't do their due diligence. They just somebody's like, oh, I'm a wholesaler. Okay, what does that mean? Right? It's one thing to lower your prices. It's another thing to deliver wholesale services. And so I think understanding who you're working with, building that relationship, working with somebody like Todd, for example, Todd's going to go the extra mile. Todd's going to show up and help you out, right? If the art doesn't come through, a lot of quote unquote wholesale people would print it as is and say, you know what, that's your problem. If you want that hand holding, pay the retail price. But that's part of building that relationship. You got to understand what they need to make it, because I'll get way up on a soapbox if you let me here, Todd. But
you get up there, because then I can bring it back down. So let's go.
Because one of the other challenges with outsourcing, both sides, right? So if you're the person saying that you're a wholesaler, a lot of times you say, oh, this person came to me and said they want wholesale pricing. Okay, that sounds great, but what are they doing to earn that wholesale pricing, right? Are they going to provide you with a guaranteed amount of work that helps your business? Or maybe they're going to provide you with print ready artwork so you can streamline what you're doing, right? I mean, there's lots of different exchanges of value that go into this, but you as somebody looking for wholesale, you want to find partners that are going to explain the process to you, help you. I know when I worked in the wholesale side of things as my full-time, I had conversations with people that I wanted them to grow to a point where they fired me. Basically, they went and got their own equipment and did it, because we filled a need right in this space. But I'm going to tell you all of the things that went along with getting from point A to point B. So when you're ready to take that on yourself, you've got everything you need. So anyhow, that's kind of my take on it.
That wasn't a bad soapbox. That was a good one.
That was good.
I might have to reel it in more. I kind of look at this as, hey, I don't know about you, but I've been married once before. Yeah, I do know you've been married once before, and it didn't work out, right? That's kind of like how wholesaling is, or outsourcing is. Sometimes, you get lucky and you end up with the very first person you dated, right? And things went beautifully. And other times, it's a train wreck and you're married 7 times. You eventually find the right one, right? We're all in that. We've done that. We're there. You just try out different things. I mean, think if you would have married the very first person that you got with, I don't know. I think I'd be married to a teacher, which would be weird, but but there's so much where a lot of things change. It's just not the right fit. Their culture isn't the same as yours. They may not provide the same service anymore. Sometimes products change and they just don't do it. So you have to find somebody. It's not that they're a bad company or you're a bad client. Sometimes it's just not a right fit, because nobody is perfect. And I always say what you can do, the way to judge a company is not on what they give you, when you order, but what happens when that order's screwed up. If an order's screwed up, how do they fix that problem? I mean, we've had that. I sent somebody out a 24 by 36 inch wall window decal. And when we went through it, they didn't want it laminated. They didn't want they put it on. And when they pulled the transfer tape off, it pulled part of the print off with it. I have not had that happen with this transfer tape, with this material in there. It was just there. All right, so we're just going to ship it out to you. And they wanted it laminated. We're just going to take care of it, do it. I should have upcharged for the lamination, but hey, they had an issue with the first one. Let's just make the second one right. There's times when people send in artwork and they forget about orders, because I'm like, hey, this isn't right. It's still sitting here, and we need the correct artwork before we'll print for it. And they're like, hey, I'm checking on my order. I haven't seen it. That's because I'm still waiting on artwork. Did you check your email? And there's other times where things have got lost. I had one that somebody came in and they ordered it in April, and they're like, hey, checking on this order. I need it next week. Why? Okay, why are you waiting for so long, right? If you go through our stuff, it usually has a 5 to 7 day window, a 7 to 10, and a 10 to 14, depending on the product. When you get to that point, just send me an email, because, hey, there might have been something that happened, and I totally missed it. Don't know what happened. Totally missed it. And we got their stuff out overnight, and they got it yesterday. So there's things that you do to take care of it. And that's where I feel where you find out where, the companies really lie. If they're just like, screw you, whatever, well, then maybe they're not need for you. A lot of times it is the customer's issue, but hey, we screw up too. And how we correct it, I think, is where one of our our strong suits are. So, hey,
Yeah.
we all make mistakes. Don't get pissed off at people when they make mistakes, because you make them too. And, you do your best to correct them and go from there. If it's a bad mistake, don't do it. Just don't do business with them anymore. But, see how they correct that mistake.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I think outsourcing really does boil down to, it's about building a relationship. And like you said, Todd, there's two sides to that relationship. So you want to have that relationship with somebody where, like you said, if they screw up, what are they going to do about it? But when you screw up, are they going to help you out? Right. And vice versa. So it is really about building that relationship. So let's catch a couple of comments on this, and then we can get into the next question. David says it's very silly not to outsource. To me, if you don't have the equipment, you can sell it still until you justify buying it. And I think one thing on that, Todd, that I'd like to share too is, I think all too often we rush into, oh, I got to buy that piece of equipment. That's going to be the thing that helps me out. And probably not. You're better off, like you've talked about before, you're better off really kind of building a market through outsourcing. You might not make as much profit right away, but you're also keeping your risks way down, right? That learning curve, you can do a lot of that learning curve about what the process is without having to spend the money on the equipment and then have it sitting there collecting dust. So
I talked to somebody recently, and they said that what they're telling people now is they would not bring anything in house until it hit 100,000. If it's not bringing 100,000, I'm not bringing it in house, because they said, for their shop, pretty much every employee needs to produce 100,000 in revenue in order to, that's how their business is. Each employee is 100,000 in sales. So that means if I bring in a piece of equipment, what happens? I need an employee to run that piece of equipment. That totally makes sense. I need it to be doing that before bringing it in there. Like us, before we brought our VersaCam, we outsourced it. And the only reason we brought it in house was we knew that we had the business for it, because we were already outsourcing it. And, we wanted a little faster turnaround times than what we were getting. So, when we opened up that storefront here, now's the perfect time to do it. We have the opportunity to, let's go ahead and get it. And we did. But we built up to that. We didn't just decide, hey, I'm going to buy this. We just weren't sitting in the booth and heard, hey, you only have to sell 17 shirts and this will pay for itself. No, we knew where we were at with it, where we're making it. And because we knew what our numbers were, we knew that we could afford to do it. So that's the other thing too. How many people have you seen that, have bought equipment and two things have happened? In the next year they were closed, or the next year they didn't use it at all, right? They closed because they got in over their head with payments and such, or they bought it and they never used it because, they didn't have the time to dedicate to it, to learn it, and that's the thing. You got to make sure that it's right, that you're in the right point in your business to be able to get it.
Yeah. As somebody who used to sell equipment, honestly, that was one of the big reasons why I'm not selling equipment anymore. Is I hated that. We'd go to the same trade shows every year, and I can't tell you how many times over the course of my, I don't even want to say the number, 15, 20 years of doing that you had sold something to somebody, and through that process, you kind of build a little relationship with them. You recognize them, and they come back the next year. And at first I would always be like, oh my gosh, how's it going? How's that so-and-so working for you? And I just got gun shy. It'd be like hard to ask, because a lot of times I go, how's so-and-so working for you? Oh, it's still in the box. I'm like, what? You spent $10,000 on that direct-to-garment printer and it's still in the box? What in the, oh my God, no. So it happens way more than you would expect. I really had no clue that would be the case, but that was really.
And being on this side, I've seen it more times than not when people have gotten stuff and it's still sitting in a box 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, a year later, because they bought it with the intention of doing something with it, and stuff happened. They're still working on what they're doing, and they thought they could add this. I mean, your circle's this big. We've had the training on this. Your circle is this big. When you start adding stuff to it, it gets smaller, man. There's only so many hours in a day, and when you try and keep adding more stuff to it, this is where outsourcing comes in. Okay, I want to add embroidery. Now, listen, I'm going to buy an embroidery machine. I'm just putting it out there. Nobody's going to talk me out of it. I'm buying an embroidery machine. Am I going to use it?
I'm trying to talk you into it.
Listen, you're getting an embroidery machine.
No, I'm not getting an embroidery machine. I'm not putting it out there.
You're getting embroidery. But the only thing I would really use mine for, personal projects, and maybe sew outs of testing stuff. I have an embroiderer that takes care of all that for me, so I don't need it. I don't need the stress of that. Let them have the stress of it. I actually went down to I felt like the knight in shining armor, because I went down to my embroidery shop over the weekend because they sent me a message and said, hey, do you know any place local that we can get some ink? And I'm like, ink 4, and she's, am I rolling? I'm like, no. I said, what's going on? I said, hold on. I said, I've got some emergency carts. I'll come down. And so what I did was I when I switch everything at the same time, I have a cart of each that I know has plenty in there to at least get me through whatever job I'm finishing up for that one, to get that one off the roll. And so here, we'll go ahead and go down there, and she finished up my hats and did that. But I'm like, it's another simple thing, is make sure you have your backup stuff. And what it was is traditionally orders the larger cartridges, and they were out of stock of them. So I got the smaller one and didn't even think about how much ink it was burning through. And that's where you got to have that backup stuff. I always look at that and go with it, because when do you run out of stuff? When does stuff break? Friday at 4:00, man. Saturday, that's when stuff happens. And that's when that's when we are, that's when I would say for our people, what'd you say? We should put that out there. How many of our people are doing this full time, and then versus how many are doing it, after hours, whether they're got a day job or a night job, doing it in the off hours. Because that's, to me, is when everything seems to happen. That's when the action happens, but none of my suppliers are open because, they're during the day. So that was one of my big challenges when I was working during the day and doing stuff at night, was that.
Yeah. All right. Well, put that in the comments, guys. Is this full-time job, or is this side hustle? So there we go. We got Nikki already chiming in with full-time. Let's hit a couple more comments back here, Todd, before we go from this now. And Brian, I see this a lot, and I think that's probably to my point about the fact that a lot of times people, part of the business service they provide is that you trust me, and therefore I have to trust that stuff. Like, so I have to be able to trust other people to do the work, and so that can make it difficult to outsource. But I will agree completely with everything that Todd and everybody else has said here, that if you really want to scale and you really want to grow into something, you got to figure it out. But it does take some, you've got to try it first, right? You got to build that trust somehow.
Well, and I think one of the other things, that is just so hard to, especially when you're starting off, is you don't know what your value is.
Yeah.
You don't realize how long something is going to take you. Like, we had an embroidery discussion in Volley, and there was no way I would go down there and try and lock her door if she tried to take that order, because when you do the math on how long it was going to take, I mean, you're talking like 60 some hours of embroidery, and that's all you're doing, 60 some hours straight of embroidery. And those were not cheap polos. So, I mean, you could look at potentially, if something went bad, a $30,000 order, and that could be a business crusher. And that's sent to somebody that has it, can bang it out. What are they? They've got how long is it going to take them to do that? A couple hours? They're going to be in and out with the job. You're going to make a little bit off of it. And I know we all want to do everything, but man, there's times you have to value your time and look at what it really takes you to do it. Because that's where I ran into it with Spangles. I thought that was going to be, a great thing, but it is a single head embroidery machine. So when it came to production, that was not it for production. I wouldn't be able to do production on that unless I had 4 of them. It just is not made for it. And that it took me, while it did everything I needed to do and it made money, it did not fit for the business that I needed. And it just, that was a struggle bus for me, because I really wanted to keep it, but I knew with the numbers and the time, that was the thing, was the time that it took to do it, because it wasn't like I could just set it up and walk away, Average on that, things were done in 5 to 7 minutes. You're not getting a lot done in 5 to 7 minutes when you're doing other things. So, it was tough, and it just made business sense. Like, hey, unless I either have to hire somebody in here to just run it, and that was going to, be Corey or Krista, and neither one of them really had the ambition to do it. And I knew the smart thing to do, just get rid of it now and cut the ties with it, and go buy something else. And hey, okay, whatever, I'm going to get off me. But that's what I did.
I'm going to get rid of stuff and not buy anything else. So all right. Pamela says, I outsource so that I can provide more options to my clients.
Absolutely. You can be the one-stop shop. You can be everything that they need. Solution solver.
Mm-hmm. All right. Pamela says, so not like a failed marriage. All right. Correct. David, my 5-year-old Landon is watching you guys with me by the pool and says hello. Got to start him young. Absolutely.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, Landon. Nice to see you, sir.
I still got the cover on my pool because it's still cold.
In Phoenix, you never cover your pools, Todd.
It's coming off Friday afternoon is when it's coming off. Every Friday, because it'll be nice for the weekend.
Dawn saying hello to you. So there we
Hello,
go.
Dawn.
Yep. And Nikki, and I have to say Nikki's last name because it took me forever to actually get it right. And now that I get it right, now I'm excited about it, right? So Nikki Ademkowitz says, if it helps
Nikki
build
excites
the,
you.
huh?
Nikki excites you.
Hey, she's pretty cool. She's been pretty fun to hang out with, the sassy subber. So Nikki says, if it helps build your business until you're ready to take that next step.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah, and I think, take that next step is always hard. You got to know where you are in that business if that next step is ready to be taken right now, because there's so many more things that come to that. And like I said, the big thing is that time. If you bring something new in, more time goes to it. So either something else is using less of your time, or you're bringing somebody in. So keep that in mind when it comes to new equipment purchases.
Definitely. All right, Ree, good evening. Nikki says she wants an embroidery machine and a laser.
So now you just cut your time by 2, because now you got 2 machines to mess with, two softwares to deal with. Think about the time.
And then Wendy says Murphy loves after hours. So
I don't know who Murphy is. Tell me who Murphy is.
Murphy's Law. Never heard of Murphy's Law?
I thought it was a horse of hers. I thought, she's after hours.
No.
I'm like
Murphy's Law. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going back to my drink.
All right. So let's see here. We asked the question. I appreciate you guys jumping in here and sharing full-time or part-time or, side hustle, that kind of thing. Let's see here. So Nikki's full-time. Tanya's full-time. Jerry is currently after hours, but his goal is to be full-time. And Pamela, I love this. I work full-time, which means at all hours of the day. And that's one of the, I will give Terry credit again. Normally, this is not the way it works. Normally, you just give him credit the first time and then you get to steal it after that. That's kind of been Terry and I's thing. But Terry's always said becoming an entrepreneur gives you the right to work every hour of every day.
And I was there. I was doing the full-time, 45, 50 hours a week at the day job, and then leaving from there and going to the night job and doing this till 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, sleeping 3 hours, and then doing it all over again. And I had to look at it like, why did I really do this? Right? I did this to better myself, better my family. Well, if I can't spend any time with my family, then why the hell am I doing this? Right? Like my family, because I ruined that in my first. That was the thing. First marriage. I had a lot to do with that not working out. So how can I fix that so this one doesn't go that way? Well, should probably be a little more involved, and work is not one of those. So now I try and keep a pretty decent schedule, and especially when it's when it's cold and crappy out, it's easy to keep working. But man, when it's nice out, woo, the pool's calling your name, golf carts are right there, stuff's on the smoker, the beer's cold. You still set your schedule, and I just got to work and get it done. 64, 65, 66. Spend some time with the family.
Yeah, get it done. I don't know. I'm a workaholic, so even when it's nice, I have to remind myself to have that work-life balance. So I appreciate that. All right, let's see what else we got here, Todd. Ree says I have a demanding full-time job. That's true. Let's see here. What else we got here? Wendy, full-time. I'm just covering all the people that share what they're doing. And Ree, sometimes I get a little sleep to get orders complete. I've heard that from people working the side gig. Brian doesn't work just full time; he works double time. So there you go.
Well, that's because he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. Brian's got a laser that he hasn't even hooked up yet, so I'm not talking to Brian. I'm done talking to him. Like, that laser on. Gets a laser as a present and can't even find the time. His poor wife, she thought about it and thought this was an amazing gift for him. And he just trashes her by not even putting it together. Shame on you, Brian. Shame on you.
All right, you guys should take this to volley. So Chuck says, side hustle now when I had to be full-time. And Wendy, full-time, 70 plus hours a week. Jennifer, full-time. Ree, I've done every day this week. Todd, 2 hours here and 3 hours there.
Yeah.
And Pamela says, my God, Todd, I tried it as a side hustle, but I was just too exhausted to give it the time it needed. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was there where it was, like I said, I would be at my full-time job, being there between 6 and 7, and then I would leave always by 5. But then from there, I went straight over to the mall, and I was there until 9 for sure when the mall closed. And then most of the time it was till 10, 11, 12 o'clock getting stuff finished off. And then it was come home, eat something at midnight, 1 o'clock, go sleep for 4 hours and get up and do it all over again. And then, when it came on the weekends, it's all day Saturday being there. Sunday's the one day that I use for rest. And my rest may be different than a lot of people's rest, but I try not to do as much. I will still work an hour or two in the morning while everybody is still asleep. But I try and take that day to make sure I get stuff done. And like for this, any holiday and stuff like that, if I can't order something from my vendors and that, then it's hard for me to work. I can answer emails and do things like that. But if I can spend time with the kids, spend time with the family, spend time at the grill, just have some blues music on, maybe have a little bourbon there, get a cigar. Hey, there's nothing there. You can't take it away from me. That's what I'm living for, folks.
Yeah. And I love that. And, everybody, like I just operate. So for me, it's about getting to make those choices when I want to. Right. And so like this afternoon at 2:15, I went and spent an hour and a half up at my kids' school. It's the last 2 days of school and they had an awards ceremony. So being able to do that was really cool. But, the other part of it is when we love what we do, then, you do where you want. Right. So I enjoy Sundays because I can get caught up on things. I can get things done and feel like I'm ready to conquer the week. But at the same time, go out, do something with the neighbors, go on date night, whatever. So it's cool. I think just finding what works for you is really important. And I know, Todd, you've done a really good job of finding that happy medium.
No, I haven't. Every day it's a battle. Every day, because there's times where you have to decide, hey, I'm watching Jackass 4.5 or I'm getting work done. What are you going to do? If you want to see Wiener, you're going to watch 4.5. If you want to get work done, you're going to go in the office and you're going to get work done. But there's times where you have to do that. That if I don't get this job done, it's going to be there. This isn't like a 9 to 5 where, hey, I get to go home at 5 and somebody else finishes the job. No. Yeah. When you leave, that job is still there. So if you want to play later tomorrow or do that today, so we were planning out the schedule for the week, knowing that this weekend I plan, Saturday to Monday, I plan on not working. I'll probably do an hour or two each day, but there's a garage door opener I need to install. There's the pool I need to get open. There's ribs that need to go on the smoker. There's, I think, a couple bottles of booze that showed up from a client. It's going to be beautiful. The neighborhood's going to be lively, and the golf carts are going to be out, So, hey, I am working late tonight and tomorrow, and just so that we can get stuff taken care of. You got to look at that. You know what your schedule is. You do it. If it's too much, don't do it. If you want to do it, do it. At the end of the day, if you are not making enough money, that's on you. That's not on anybody else.
And I think that's the part that I think people sometimes miss, right? Is like, you have all of those perks, right? You can do all those things. You can choose to not work and do all that other stuff. But at the same time, you also are carrying all those responsibilities, right? So like you said, it's going to be there when you get back. And if the customer's not happy with the turnaround time, well, could you have done something different, right? Or maybe that's not the right customer. I mean, you get to make those decisions. That's my point. I'm not saying that you should work on Sunday. I'm not saying that you should work all weekend. I think setting those boundaries is huge, and doing what works for you and your family is very huge. So
what works for you, that's the thing. Because hey, what works for me, I mean, it probably doesn't work for a lot of people, and that's fine, because what works for a lot of people probably doesn't work for me. Yeah. And that's the thing, is you find your groove, Stella, and you get back in it. All right. That's all you have to do, is you find what makes you happy, find out how to do it, get your work-life balance in there. And if working 50 hours after you're already doing 50 hours makes you happy, okay. If working 5 hours, does it, great. But don't complain if there's stuff to be done, or if you haven't got to it, or any of this, when there's
business isn't growing, right?
When stuff is happening, and you can do that. Just look at your priorities and what you're doing. And I'm not saying you can't take the time to watch, some. You can
absolutely.
Do it.
For that too.
But don't complain that I don't have time to do something, because you do. You're just allocating your time other places.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's see what else we got here. We got a whole bunch of comments we got to get to. And Nikki, this was ways back, so I think we were talking about the embroidery machine, but I don't know if there's anything there. She says, I was there and I got burned out. Back then, I only had a single needle. Had probably an embroidery machine. Mary talking about the fact that he's got a full-time job, but then he's doing this as a side. He says, but I listen to you guys and podcasts and TRW training all day long while at work. He's doing 3 days of Sublimation Summit this week.
Yeah. That started today, didn't it?
Yeah. It did. Karina says, I want to roll in a laser.
Okay, so get the rolling first because that is going to be a lot more set it and forget it type thing. The laser creates fire, and fire can burn things. And I have seen some sweet explosions over the last probably last year, really, with especially a lot of the Glowforge stuff. I've seen some sweet explosions. Not to scare you, but I am. So I would go roll in. Both of them are going to produce a lot. You can do a lot of stuff with it. I mean, yeah. I got a laser sitting right there. She's staring at me. She'll be up and running. This is a July project. It'll be up and running.
All right.
It'll be July. I'll at least get one thing cut by July.
Yeah. All right. Well, Nikki, this is pretty exciting. We're opening a brick and mortar with my sister and mom. Doing this will allow us to expand the business. So
I think it's down in Florida too, right? I think she's headed to Florida today.
I believe that's correct, but I don't want to put words around.
Don't eat her. There's like I want to go to live in Florida, but then I realize there's a lot of stuff that can eat me between anacondas and panthers. I'm just not sure if I should go there.
All right. And Todd, you and Brian can take this to volley for sure, but he said he did put it together and it's not running though. So, all right. So yeah, Nikki shares, I take Sunday for family. I'm working on sticking to business hours because I work from the time I get up to when I go to bed. I'm learning to give myself grace. Give myself grace also means being with my family. I love that.
Yeah.
And Becky says, my rolling came last night and it's so much better than my old printer.
She had a magical, what did she have? She had the, what is it? What's the M? What's the M?
I don't know. You got me.
She'll tell us. Okay. But it had a bad head. It was a garbage printer. She was having nothing but issues with it.
Nice. And Nikki is heading to Florida. So
that's what I thought.
Muto.
That's what it was. Yeah. That's what it was. And so now she's on Team Roland. We're there to help you. It is. So she has been in the wide format print before, but now she, doesn't have those issues. So it'll be good to see her get back things that she had. And that's super exciting. I love that. I would look at the VG3, like I don't need it. Like I really don't, I don't need it, but man, it sure is pretty. And it sure does produce an amazing color gamut when you start getting oranges and greens as inks. Oof, man. Yeah. Makes a lot of things easy.
Yeah. All right, Todd. Well, let's get to one more question. I think we're probably only going to have time for one more because I do.
Then you know what we can do?
We could do the volley thing. And we got next week too. Right. So
yeah. We got next week too.
Yep. So I think we're good. Thank you guys for participating and jumping in. And
one question. Remember when we started this 2 years ago? Yeah, so we're gonna do this like no more than 15 minutes. That's what we're gonna do.
And I said, been able to do.
I said you can't like there's I was gonna make a dirty comment about time and
yeah, let's not.
Against it. But yeah, I think last time we did this was the only time when we were at that 30 minute because I think we both had stuff to do and we're like 30 minutes out. So yeah.
I mean, we definitely can keep the conversation going over there. So Chuck did mention though, Todd, he has lived there in Florida all of his life, so you're safe.
Chuck, I'm a chunky guy and I don't run fast, so I think I'd be tasty to anacondas and panthers. But like, so we've looked. We've been team Let's Look, and I think it might end up in like South Georgia because it's cheaper and I can still be to the coast within 2 hours. So that's kind of where it was there. I got to be. That was the thing is we got to be. We'd love to be 3 hours or less from the coast because hey, I don't want to be on the coast because I don't want to pay coast prices. But 3 hours, that's just simple drive. So if you want to go to the beach for the day, you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, all right. So Nikki says, welcome to Team Roland. Nikki shared, I love mine and have done very well with it in a year.
They're amazing pieces. And even with that, like there's a lot of stuff, even with my wide format printer where we'll get backlogged with stuff and I'll send it to other people's printers and get stuff done. because just because you have the piece of equipment still doesn't mean that you should do everything, right? You can,
Yeah.
well, this is going on this, and I can have somebody else print stuff for me and make a little bit of money while mine's not running. Perfect.
There you go. Becky says, I got the SG and now have one piece of equipment instead of two.
Yes.
I'm keeping my cutter for when we get moved into the brick and mortar, but for now it's nice to have a little extra space.
Oh, so you're in an amazing spot, because that is one of the downfalls of having a Roland, is having an all-in-one system, print then cut, because that is the bottleneck.
Yeah.
That's the bottleneck on it. So you can print from there, roll it up, let it outgas, then run it through your other cutter when you're ready to go with it. So there's a guy, Aztec Labels, I believe is his name, Darren. He's on YouTube, Print Shop Talk. He's got a nice little setup on there. He started with a Cricut or a Cameo. He started with something, then he went to the BN20, and now within like 3 years, they're in their garage. He's got a retail spot or store frontage, but he just bought one of those like $150,000 like sweet label things. It's pulling out labels faster than I can blink. It was just amazing to watch run, but he's continuously put it back in his business and do it. But he's got a nice Roland setup where he's got his Roland here, then his laminator, and then his Graph Tech. So prints off the Roland and goes ahead and throws it on the table while it outgasses, gets everything set up there to go through the laminator, and then it goes to cut. So really cool setup to sit and watch. I've learned a lot from him just on the production, on how he has his system set up, and to see what he's put money back into, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to do, but let somebody else learn that first to see if it's worth it. It's like, I feel like that's where people are with me with DTF. They're like, how are you liking it so far? I'm like, when I'm running, I love it. Is it running now? No. Will it be running before June? Maybe not. We'll see.
I've heard a lot of people having problems with their DTFs lately. So
other than that, when it's running, I love it. I've had great results with it, but I've had the best thing is the support that I've gotten from my vendor on it. They've been over backwards taking care of me on it, so I don't feel like I've lost anything out. I just can't print.
All right. Nikki has no idea what volley is.
She's been under a rock. She's been under a rock, man. She's not listened to Aaron at all in the last 2 months.
You got to Todd, point to it, please.
You got to go right here, Nikki. You got to go right here. That just does not look good.
No, it does not. So point to the bottom of your screen.
I can't.
Right. Whatever. See the banner at the bottom. It says OSG.link/volley. And you go there, and it's going to take you to a little messaging app. And that messaging app is going to look a little bit like this. And we have all sorts of great conversations in there. There's daily gratitude. There's business tips. There's success principles discussion. There's Tuesdays with Todd discussion. Occasionally we'll do Q&A in there as well. So right now it's closed, but we can open that back up maybe here for a day or two. We'll figure that out as we go. So yeah, great opportunity to kind of keep exchange information, exchange ideas, sometimes just have a little bit of fun. The random channel gets pretty random at times, so that's kind of fun. And but
you have to, before you log on, you have to decide, either your team Harry Potter or your team Star Wars. Like, I don't want to hear this BS of you don't know, just don't join. You have two teams, you're Harry Potter or you're Star Wars. That's just
Darren says that's how I feel about my plasma table.
Don't get me started on the plasma table, because that has been on my radar forever. I want the Crossfire because you can get it into it for about $3,500. I totally want to have fun with that. I had a plasma table when I was at the shop, and I really miss it, and so I think I should just get one. So that's a long list of things that I don't need that I'll probably
there you go. All right, Pamela says I do both sublimation and vinyl, so I have an Epson F570 and a Roland BN20.
Nice.
Because most of my clients want one or two vinyl items, so outsourcing was too costly for short runs.
Yep, absolutely, and that's where it comes in handy to be able to do those short run things, because the BN20, amazing printer. The quality on it is top notch. It is slow, so that's the downfall to it. So it's great for those 1-2 projects. I think depending on what it is, especially transfer wise, anything under a dozen, you're fine. But once you start getting into the production where you need a lot of them, it is just slow at it. But man, it is amazing printer.
Nice. All right. So Nikki's team both, by the way.
I don't think that happens. That's not real life. Nobody's
take that up with Nikki. I'm not going to get in the middle of that.
On volley.
Yeah, you guys talk about that on volley. All right. Alan, Star Wars.
There we go. Alan's right. Alan's the man. He's good.
I'm probably team both, or I don't know. Anyhow, Ree says I need to learn my GCC or sell it. Okay.
Is that the GCC? Is that the cutter?
Yeah, cutter.
Okay, so help me. This is what I don't understand, because I run into this and I get confused on when somebody says I need to learn my cutter. What the hell does that mean? Because to me, like, all my cutter does is cut. I just send something to it and it cuts. And there's like my cut settings always, they're roughly the same, because you might, as the blade gets duller or the cutting strip gets worn out, so I may have to do that. But then I don't change much. I just change the blade or change the cutting strip and move on from it. So there's maybe like a week or two testing in there, or when I get a new product, I'll run through a couple sample cuts to see where it is. But it's pretty well. So I don't know, like what when somebody says that, like, what's wrong with it? What are you having an issue with? Is it getting the file to it? Is to actually work? I don't know, because
could be just relatively new to vinyl cutting in general, right? So you need to have a vector file. That's probably the first place to start. Setting the file, what kinds of medias. Yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying though, Todd. I think a lot of times, especially for a lot of these things, we can kind of look at it and get really overwhelmed because it's completely new to us. But a lot of times the best thing to do is just jump in, try it out, right? Cut something. Very few things are going to ruin the machine.
Oh yeah.
So
how much vinyl I've had just get caught in the head of that thing because I had it off the side and it just did all that, and it scares the hell out of you.
Yeah,
but it's just there. And you're a pro at silhouette. I mean, then you're good.
Yeah, you probably know way more than you probably already need to know. So
just do it. Let's go live and make it work, because you can do it. If you're a pro with that, you got it. You got it. I know you.
Yeah, you're gonna get it right, Ree. I'd say, yeah. But let us know. Let us know how we can help you with that.
A lot of it is it in the software program, where you haven't just how to make files from there, because I know a lot of people have come from that where they're like, I just don't know how to do it, and that can be very troublesome and overwhelming. I mean, hey, I loved Corel to death, and it's tough for me to get into Photoshop and Illy and do other stuff, because I'm just like, nope, not happening. I know how to do this faster over here, and I really should, so I get a better understanding of it. But I don't. If I have an issue in Corel, I got this little thing called Corel Trainer. You can just boom, okay, here's this, done. All right, good. I don't have to worry about that, But there are some amazing things that you can do in Photoshop and Illustrator that you can do. And I listen, I'm not perfect, but Corel is. So there. David, you're more than welcome to use that at the next trade show. You're not perfect, but Corel is. Right.
I'm sure I'll hear that once or twice there in Indianapolis. All right. Well, let's. I said we'd have time for one more question, but we may run out of it. But no, let's hit one more.
Do it. We got it.
Okay. You guys talk to a lot of people. I don't know. Sometimes we just talk to ourselves here, but we talk to a lot of people. What is one question that you get asked the most? And I'm going to just add on to this, Todd, so we can really kind of give some value here. What's the one question you get asked the most, and what's your answer?
Oh, okay.
Throw a curveball out here.
No, this is going to be because there's a lot of them that I get asked depending on what it is. But going to a trade show, the first time people meet me, or someone that I haven't seen for a while, is they want to say, what color are your toes? So I have to show them my feet. They have to look at my feet to know what color my toes are. So that's the one question that I get asked the most is that. And then from there, it can be in a thing, like how do I price my products? Like, how do I know that I'm charging right? And then I'm like, all right, I guess we need to grab a beer because this is going to be a while. It's so much easier when you can just ask what color are your toes, because then I can just say they are pretty. They're pretty. They're turquoise. So that is the one that I get asked the most. But then from there, it's usually the pricing or how do I know what to charge for myself?
Yeah. I that's funny that because we didn't talk about this beforehand, but that's actually what I hear the most too is, what's the secret to pricing? And like you said, there's so many variables to it that it becomes a little bit of a challenge. And honestly, it's kind of why we created the 5 Keys program, Todd, is kind of to answer that question pretty easily. But, a lot of it does come back into what is it, what are your costs? And how does that come together? Because I think the biggest challenge that people have with pricing, Todd, is the fact that you're trying to actually like make the price match up to what the cost is, but nobody purchases anything based on cost, right? We only purchase it off of what we perceive that value to be. The thing that I always use is like a reference that like proves this point is you can buy a t-shirt from a plain white t-shirt from Walmart. You can get a pack of 2 for $10. So that's $5 a piece, right? But there are people out there that will sell a plain white t-shirt for upwards of $300 and be out of stock of that t-shirt. There's not that much difference in the cost to make each of them. In fact, my guess would be there's probably pennies worth of difference when it comes to that kind of a commodity product. It's all about what the perceived value of it is. It's, I mean, if you want to come down to a little more normal level, it's, why would you not just buy a generic pair of sneakers that have the Velcro versus going and buying the latest Air Jordan sneakers, or designer handbag versus, why can't I just carry a normal cheap bag that I got from a Target or Walmart or something like that, right? So those are anyhow, go ahead, Tom.
Well, I think it depends, because a lot of time when you buy cheap, it does fall to shit. like there's nothing where you spend the money on stuff that's going to make your life easier. Think like how many bags have you had that have probably, as you're going through an airport, decides that's when the damn handle is going to rip or something, and you're like, oh, you spent the money on the good bag, and you're like, okay, now I don't have that issue anymore.
Yeah.
What did you do? You paid more to solve a problem. So I have found that when I solve more or when I charge more, guess what happens? Those clients that are the bottom price beaters that are always wanted they go away, and the people that value you are there, and it just makes sense. So you spend money on something, it works.
Yeah. But when people are starting out, they feel like they have to get every order they can get to stay in business. And I think the sooner people can get over that and start charging what they're worth, that's when they'll get to being successful. Right. Until that time, they're gonna struggle. In fact, I've seen people that have started there and then they've grown their business to a point where they're like so overwhelmed that they've got so much work to do that they can't even keep up, but yet they're not successful. Right. And I mean, we see that all the time. But then you look at what they're doing and you look at what they're charging, and it's like, yeah, of course. In fact, there's been a couple people where Todd and I have talked kind of privately about what's going on with them. And Todd's like, gosh, I'm thinking about just outsourcing all my stuff to them because I can make money just letting them do the work.
And I told him that too. I'm like, you want to keep your prices at that? Like, this is where it is. I'm like, you're 100% sure on that. And I'm like, why? I'm like, are you 100% sure that price works for you and you can make money off it? And they're like, I'm going to need to know why you're asking me that. I'm like, okay, if I can give you $10,000 in business a month, is your price going to be that way? They said, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing, because I will send everything to you and not even do it anymore, not even touch it. Like, really? I'm like, you're not making money off it. I'm going to put you out of business, like realistically, because you have to think, if you lose 50 cents on every order, right? May not seem like a lot, but you do 1,000 orders a month, that's $500. That's $6,000 a year. Come on, you got to think, if you're losing money on orders, you lose money on every order. Now, it's different if, hey, this pen cost me 10 cents and I'm selling it for 9 cents when they buy this cup that I'm selling them to them for $45. Okay, you're doing an upsell and you're packaging it together and you're bundling, and that's where I did 100% get that. But when you're selling the singular products at a loss, unless you have some marketing in it with this, hey, I'm doing this to gain for this reason. I want people to sign up for my email. I'm doing it for this specific reason. Okay. But when you're just selling your stuff, you're selling yourself short. You're selling yourself out of business. You're selling your success down the road to somebody else. Yeah. You need to know your numbers.
Yeah, I agree. Know those numbers for sure. And Todd, let me take that one step further too about when you do the low cost leader, and I get all that. But here's what we all have to realize about what industry we're in. We are taking a commodity product, a blank something, and we are increasing the perceived value. We're not changing the usability of it. This cup right here, it holds hot water the exact same whether it had this decoration on it or not. Right? So I'm not changing the utility of it, But to me, this cup is more valuable because it's got my Jack Canfield certification on it, right? So that's more valuable to me. To Todd, it's probably not more valuable, right? But so that's the whole point, is we're selling something where we're changing the perceived value. So when you start selling things for low prices, right, you're going to be a low price leader, or you're kind of doing that where buy this at a loss to upsell into this. Some of those programs work, but the second we put our customer's mind into, oh, this stuff's cheap, right, then we've lost them, because we're trying to sell them something where the increased perceived value is the key. So anyhow, that's the pricing thing. I could talk about for hours and hours and hours.
There's been a lot of jobs that we do, our 100 shirts for $6.95, right? And you're doing single color shirts, you're doing 100% cotton, you're doing all this. I would say on average, about a third of those end up becoming orders twice that big. Why? Because they go with a different shirt, they go with multiple prints, they go that. It was just that, here, come in here. We're still making money off it, but we give them, hey, is this what you want? Well, this is what I really, hey, we can do that. Here's what we need to do to change up with, you don't want a 100% cotton shirt? Great. Here's the cost if we go to this. We give them the options to it. So there's a reason to do some things, but you have to know what that reason is. Like, you just can't, throw shit at the wall and hope that it's going to stick. It's just not going to work that way. You just can't hope and pray that, all right, I'm charging $7.99. Woo! That sounds like a great price. That is not going to work, right? Don't ask Paul from around the corner what he's charging for stuff, because if Paul doesn't know his numbers could be totally different than yours, what it costs him to be in business. So while he might be able to make money off of it, you could be losing money off of it. You got to know your numbers, folks. You got to. Yeah.
Like I said, Todd and I believe in this so much that we created a whole program around it. So
legit.
We're happy to share what the information on that, if anybody's interested in that. I think it's well, Todd, we've heard it time and again, right? We've changed people's businesses by being able to give them that formula to
we're
really
a tent in Texas away from being evangelists. I mean, really, because we heal them. They see the light. Right. There's so many that's like,
you're feeding my preacher ego here, Todd. Come on.
There's so many. I think I've lost count of the people that after they've put that first key, the response was, "Holy shit! I didn't realize it cost me that much to be in business." And you're right. You don't realize what it costs you to be in business. And that is a lot of people were like, "Oh." When I went into somebody's store and we started talking numbers and going over stuff, there's no way. And then I looked and I'm like, well, this is why you're not making money. This is why you think you are. Like, let's really look at it. And they're like, oh yeah, and that's the thing, value your time. You have to know your time. You have to know your time, because time's money. I know that it takes me, a minute to do something. Like right now, we've been here for 64 minutes. There's an hour. $125.
I owe Todd $125 after this. It sucks.
That's right.
The way it works.
I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna add it to DTG credit. We're gonna get to there, and he's just gonna send it over here, and then we're gonna work, and I'm gonna send an embroidery machine. It's gonna be amazing.
All right. Nikki says, I feel like loss leaders really work well for brick and mortar type stores. The online stores, I don't feel that's the way.
Here's the opposite, though. That actually works less, because you're bringing them in, but are you bringing in the right clients? Because now, like Nikki, you're at the house, so your overhead is completely different now than when you go to that brick and mortar. So that's the other thing to consider too. The reason to get your numbers tight now to know what it costs you to be in business is when you look at that one, because we've seen so many people do that where they've made that jump and they failed because they didn't understand their numbers and they thought, oh, here's my pricing. They didn't factor in what it actually cost them to do their business. Hey, I'm out of my house. I don't pay lights and gas. I don't pay internet. I don't pay this. So I don't need to include that. Yeah, you do, because that stuff needs to be accounted for. When it is, and you make that jump there, then it's like, oh, yep, it's just plugging numbers in and you can see where it's at. Where the loss leaders come in on brick and mortars is you're getting somebody in the door. So now you have to sell them. That's the thing, because if you're just getting them in for that, there's so many times, especially we've seen it over Black Friday, where people are giving stuff away, but man, that's all they're coming for is that free stuff, that chance for that, and that's it. They're not getting any of that other stuff. So, is it really worth it? That's where it really gets there. Now, online, you can do it there. The loss leader on that is, to me, I feel that's where like the coupons come in, the buy one get one frees, the buy one get one 50% off, doing that type of stuff to create that thing. Buy this now, get this. Like Kohl's has a great racket, right? here, you buy this now. And Menards, we're gonna hit that. Menards and Kohl's, they have great rackets. Kohl's cash and Menards rebates. Everything's on rebate. Here's 11%. You're getting it back in store credit that you have to spend with us. So you're just gonna keep coming back in here. Kohl's cash. Man, it expires in 7 days. You better come in. Hey, your Kohl's cash expires in 6
I
days.
can't tell you.
Your Kohl's cash is 5 days. Your Kohl's cash is 2 days. Your Kohl's cash is going to expire tomorrow. Please come. And you're like, oh my God, I got to go spend. I got to go spend $75 on this thing that I don't need because I got Kohl's cash.
Well, and we try to think, oh, my logic's going to not let that happen to me. But the reality is that stuff works for a reason. I mean, it's human nature that because then we feel like we've missed out, we've lost out on something when you really haven't, right? I mean, Kohl's cash, you've already spent money with them, and now they're trying to get you to come spend more money with them.
Yeah, it's a great racket.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it.
Sure.
I'm gonna do it.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Becky says custom work will always hold more value than mass produced. Learning to let people go elsewhere allows time for customers who value your time and work, which in return produces real profit. That's a 100% true statement. We'll just leave that one up there. Let that sink in for a second. That's really good. And Nikki does know that her prices are going to have to be adjusted. That's good.
And this thing is knowing that going into it. That's tremendous because a lot don't. They're like, oh, I could be with this and not realize it.
Yeah. Catherine says, I feel loss leaders where you recoup some cost can be good for small businesses on a short-term basis, seasonal thing versus all of those that toss in freebies constantly in their packaging. Interesting thought there.
Okay. Yeah, and see, I think it depends because what is the cost of it? That's what you have to know is what is the cost of it and what are you throwing in? Sometimes it could be garbage and you're just going to throw it away. Other times, like I get excited when I get packages and there's koozies in them. I could never have enough koozies. I don't know any person that has ever said, you know what, I have enough koozies.
Really?
They try to throw, the wife has tried to throw them away, and the husband.
I try to throw mine away all the time too. Yeah.
There's never enough koozies. You can never have enough koozies. But there's things where you want to have it. There's cool stuff that you get. When you can get that cool pin, and you can get that cool tape measure that you just have right there. There's some things to it there. You just have to know what you want and what it's going back from.
And I'll say this, Todd. I think the other thing for people that, because we can have these discussions, right? You and I can talk about this stuff. We can go back and forth and kind of agree or disagree or seem like we're disagreeing, whatever. I think at the end of the day, though, the most important thing for small businesses, and maybe you'll disagree with this, but I think the most important thing, I don't think you will, but I think the most important thing for small businesses is what is it that is your value? What are your company values, right? So like, for example, the guy, I went to this training and from a guy that was integral, like worked with the founding family of Chick-fil-A. And he was talking about the fact that he doesn't think if you want to build loyalty and have customers that are raving loyal fans, that you should never do freebies or discounts, right? Not freebies. You should never do discounts. So like Black Friday discounts and stuff like that. He says, we'll give stuff away as like a reward, as a thank you to our customers, but we never do discounts. Now, I don't know if that's true across the board, but when he was with Chick-fil-A, that was his thing. So that was their value, right? So maybe you value giving gifts. And so putting those extra freebies in the packaging comes across as what you value. Whereas maybe being able to, do seasonal short-term based programs are part of things that you value yourself. And so I think what really ends up happening is the things that we value ourselves come out in our company, and therefore we're attracting other people that value those same things. And so the right answer for you is probably whatever fits for you. We can argue, we can look at, like Todd said, you got to understand what the numbers are telling you. You got to understand what that's really doing to your business. So to keep just giving away stuff for the sake of giving away stuff is probably not a good idea, right? But I think in general, ultimately the decision is what is best for your company and what you value and what shares that value. So
I think with either one of them, the thing to do is what are the results you're trying to get and attract those. Because if you're just throwing something, that's all you're doing. You're just putting it in there for it. Now, are you putting something there to try to get somebody back? Are you giving, a discount for this? Just track it. So that way you can see, hey, I did this loss leader here on I had 50 products. I expect this in return. Did it work out the way you wanted to? I include this in my packaging. I expect 3% to come back. What are you trying to accomplish with that? So that way you can set a goal for what it's doing and you can track it and see if it's working. If it's not, do something else. Otherwise, you're just here. Today I'm going to throw this. I'm going to throw this in my packaging because I got it here and somebody's going to get it. Like last week, I was horrible at shipping. Horrible. No, 2 weeks ago when Corey was out of town, because I didn't know where the stuff was. I'm like the shipping department. I don't know what the hell where stuff was and where she put it at. I got confused. I couldn't find the thank you notes. I couldn't find any of that. I literally was like, we were sending out transfers and, there's the packing material that was in it. I'm writing on the packing material. Hey, have a great day. Thanks. Because I'm like, I don't know where this stuff is. Me being left-handed, all my stuff would be the left. So I can easily grab it. Her being right-handed is not to the left. And I didn't know. And I got confused and I got frustrated. And I realized I really love her and that she's the greatest thing that's happened in my shipping department.
She must be standing right there.
And I just needed to do it. No, she's actually not here. But
okay.
But
check it on the replay for it.
I let her take it over and she made it her own thing. I didn't let her take it over. Like, here, it was like we were talking, she can do this part of it very well and very efficiently. And that's why, I got into it with her there for a bit because she was still signing my name to stuff. I'm like, yo, you're the one packaging this stuff up. Sign your name to it. Don't sign my name to it. You can read that. You can't read my
stuff. Your handwriting looked different that one time.
Right. And I'm like, here, And so she's got her set up there and I felt completely lost. So what did I learn is that when she goes to Texas is that I need to know where everything is over there so I have a better understanding of it and not feel so frustrated again.
Yeah. There you go. You learn as you go, and that's feedback. Awesome. All right, Todd. Well, I think we've done pretty well here. We've got through a lot of stuff and hopefully covered a lot of great ground that everybody can take with them and of value. One other quick shout out though, man, I love action takers, Todd. You know that we love action. Yeah. That's what we're all about. And Nikki has already taken action. She's on volley, jumped in, didn't know what it was, already jumped in. Is a superstar rock star at it already. So osg.link/volley. Come on over.
Right here. Nikki went down here. She went down here, and now she's got video to prove that she went down here. So, there we go. She went down there. She went down there. Now she went down there.
All right, guys. Todd, good times. Great stuff.
As always.
Yep, indeed. All right. Well, we're going to close it up for tonight. So we will see you guys back here next Wednesday. Let's see here. Tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., a fundamental start. We talk about wins. We do 5 things, and we look for solutions. And it is only 15 minutes. So far, not over 15 minutes. So far. Keeping it trying to keep it that way. And Christy DeFalco actually joined me this morning. So I've got a link there. If you guys want to get in and share your wins too, you can jump right on the screen with us too. So I'm doing that in the mornings. Let's see. Tomorrow you're Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Thursday is my day where there is like, let's get S done, because that's the day that I'm not live anywhere. Nobody that I know is live during the day anywhere. So Thursday is my
Thankful Thursday.
That is 1 o'clock. So that's a lunchtime.
That's a lunchtime. Yeah, there you go. So so tomorrow we got Thankful Thursday. Kylene, my wife, does Thankful Thursday, and that's 1 o'clock. You can just go to liveosg.com and check that out. It'll also be over at the Our Success Group page. Friday, 2 regular guys.
Who's guest this week? What's the topic?
Her last name is evading me right now. Eve Lowry. The Baby's Booty is her company name, and she is a YouTube influencer.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar.
She's got kind of embroidery, getting into more rhinestones and vinyl and stuff too.
Yep.
Embroidery person. So she'll be on Saturday morning. I'm actually going
Friday.
to be Friday morning. I'm actually going to be away on Friday, so Eric Campbell is sitting in for me. I've got to go travel and take my dad to the doctor on Friday, just a routine thing, but they're not allowing him to drive afterwards because they have to sedate him. So
he's sleeping. Just leave him there. You'll come back for him.
Yeah,
I'll come back for him in a couple hours.
I said I can pick you up another time.
It's like the vet. You just leave him there. I'll come back for you later.
That's right. So I will not be on Friday morning, but it'll be a great show with Eric and Terry. And then the half will be happening. Hopefully I'll be back by then, but otherwise somebody will fill in. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk Todd and fill in or something.
I can fill in. Me and Eric could tear it up.
I told Eric, just let me know and I can find him somebody if I can't make it. So that's happening. Let's see. Saturday is Small Business Saturday. And then, but you are Friday morning mindset. So Monday,
Ocho, whatever. Ocho Trente.
8:30 for those of you that are looking for a time.
Cultured like myself, 8:30.
All right. Well, that's what's happening. Let's see here. I don't know. That's for not for me to determine. All right.
my toes are definitely nicer. Let's just go there.
Oh boy.
I will put my toes up against
throwing too many stones here. No,
just saying.
So great, you guys. What a wonderful Q&A. Todd, great job as usual. And then, like I said, we'll see you guys back here on Wednesday. One more quick thing to share with people, Todd. If you've got other questions, you want to get them on the banner there, oursuccessgroup.com/QA is where you can go and get those questions plugged in. And we've got 2 in the works, but we'll see if we can get through more next time.
And you might as well, hey, if you want to get in and know what the hell we're talking about when we get to these things, you can always, boom, right there. Why doesn't we have that up there?
There you go. Oh, I've had it up there.
There it is, up there.
Oh,
you know why? It's behind my camera. It's literally right there behind my camera. I see.
But I like that banner. That's a good point. Yeah, check out our success group. We'd love to have you as part of the membership. As you've heard, Todd and I talk a lot about what we do inside of that, and think that we can really help your business get to that next level. In fact, let me rephrase that. I know we can help your business get to the next level because we've proven it.
I know that as long as you are going to take action,
that's right,
that we can do that.
Yeah.
Because if you're not taking action,
the people that are taking action, we've been able to prove it, and we appreciate their feedback and their testimonials and the things that they've shared, and so excited that their businesses are growing and thriving because of it. So
yeah, it is. I love it.
And then all the work that they're doing.
That's what I love about getting out to the trade shows again, to see people and hear stories that, like, oh yeah, now, because it's different, when we tell this to people and we talk to them in the group, but actually see that excitement in their face.
Yeah.
Trade shows.
Pretty cool. All right. Well, Todd, have a great rest of your evening, and we will see everybody again very soon.
See you guys.